had seen any of my other keto diet videos, then you'll know that I was struggling to get into therapeutic levels of ketosis the entire time that I was doing keto. I did keto for like 4 to 5 months, and I had my trusty keto mojo meter, which I still can't find, by the way. Ridiculous. And the only times that I got into like actual like deep ketosis was after strenuous exercise. And most of the time though, I was just in mild nutritional ketosis, and I could not get myself higher than that, even even when I tried carnivore briefly. I tried taking out dairy briefly. I tried some different things, and I just couldn't get there. And it was really frustrating because I don't have any kind of diagnosed mental illness, but I've had a lot of cognitive struggles in the past several years, and also like some symptoms of depression. And so I wanted to try keto for my mental health. I thought my cognitive issues may have been stemming from depression, possibly. But also I'd heard that keto is just good for your cognition anyway. So that's why I wanted to try it. And although I did see some benefits, I was not able to get into like therapeutic ketosis on any kind of consistent basis ever. And I didn't get the results that I was hoping for. Like, I started feeling a lot more stable, a lot calmer, and my cognition was like better in the sense that I could just like move from task to task easier without feeling overwhelmed or confused about things. So I did see improvements, but like my memory didn't get any better. My depressive symptoms, like I still had some of that on and off. And so like I was frustrated and kind of bummed out that I could not figure out how to make keto work for me, in the sense of like getting into deep ketosis and staying there and seeing if some kind of like real healing could happen. I never figured that out. And towards the end of keto, I started really struggling with it, and eventually had to break it because I tried to fast. That was like my last ditch effort. I was like, I'm gonna try and do a fast and see what happens to my ketones then, right? But anyway, then things went bad and I had to break the fast, like barely into it at all. And I just stopped doing keto then because I was just done. I was struggling, like having a really hard time keeping up with it as time went on. But then I came off of keto and like nothing happened. I didn't like, the gains that I had managed to get while on keto, they didn't really go away. Like, I've had a couple of times, like, I'll talk about this in a separate video, but like my mood has been a little bit less stable. I've had a little bit more of like ups and downs. I've had a few times where I start to feel kind of like cognitively, like kind of confused or like feeling overwhelmed just by something simple. Like that's the kind of thing that would happen all the time, like constantly for me before. But it hasn't been bad. And whenever that starts to happen, I've been able to just kind of step back and be like, no, it's okay. It's fine. So like, I kind of feel like what happened, and I mentioned this in, I think, a previous video, maybe, is that being in ketosis, although like I didn't get into deep ketosis and therefore probably didn't see a level of healing of anything that like there's the potential for, I think what it did is I was stuck in like the sort of like fight or flight mode. I'd had a period of years that were just really difficult. and I went through some trauma and just like a period of being like in survival mode. And I think that what happened is I kind of got stuck in that survival mode kind of like framework or whatever, and I didn't know how to get out of it. I couldn't, like I mentioned before, I couldn't remember what it felt like to not like be in whatever that kind of state is, where I was just like kind of like on high alert, you know, and I wanted to be in control is what I think it is. I went through a period of time where a lot of things happened that were out of my control, and a lot of just like difficulties that I had to just kind of let happen, you know? I couldn't change things. And no matter how much I tried, I still couldn't. And so I ended up feeling like desperate for this like control. And so anything that like felt out of control at all, even like these little sort of things, started just like, they would just like put me on like whatever. Like what is this word I'm looking for? My cognition has not healed, but I'm doing a lot better. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it, but I was stuck in this sort of like fight or flight mode or something. And being in ketosis calmed me down. Like it kind of like, it took me out of that, and I was able to just calm down, and I became more stable and more steady and more calm, and better able to handle these little things that before were making me feel very out of control and like and just like frustrated and confused and like whatever it was. I think probably as a result of feeling out of control of it, keto just like calmed me down, and I was able to better do those things. And I just like kind of chilled out for most of the time I was in keto. I started to really struggle, and some of those issues started to come back towards the end because I was just like just really struggling with the diet, and not feeling well. I don't like, again, I was only doing keto for like 4 to 5 months. I really don't see how anything could like really truly heal in that time, as far as like if there were some sort of like systemic issue going on. Like I know a lot of people are using keto for their mental health to deal with like some pretty serious mental disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar, major depression. And it can take like a really long time, like years of being in sustained ketosis before you see like actual healing from those things. Like you can, if you're successful with it, if it works for you, then you can see remission of your symptoms, but like you have to stick with it for a long time. It's the same thing with epilepsy. Like there are people who do a keto diet for epilepsy, and after they've done it for like so many years, they can get off the diet and the epilepsy doesn't come back because something's really been able to heal. So I really don't think like that can happen in a matter of months. Granted, I don't have anything so severe as that, right? But so like keto didn't work in that way for me because I couldn't sustain the diet for that long, and I couldn't get into like the levels of ketosis needed to produce that sort of real healing anyway, which is maybe why the diet didn't feel sustainable. It was like my body was just like struggling to use the fuel for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but so like that part didn't work for me. But I think what it did is it knocked me out of that like fight or flight mode that I had gotten stuck in. And now, even though I'm off the diet, I know what it feels like now to not be to not be stuck in that. And so now, even when things have started to like, you know, if something starts to creep in and I'm like starting to get frazzled or something because of something, some whatever dumb thing that I deal with in my life day to day as a homemaker, right? I just kind of step back and like, it's fine. Like, this is fine. I can deal with this. Whereas before it was just kind of like, I just couldn't, like, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see that like, it's okay and I can handle it, because I hadn't felt that in so long. Cause I like, just for so long, I just felt like I couldn't handle things. And so it would kind of like create this spiral of like not being able to handle it, like more and more or whatever. Now I'm just kind of like, no, it's fine. Like, it is no big deal. Like, I can handle it, or this is nothing to worry about, or whatever. I'm trying to think of an example. I had one in my head like 2 hours ago and I forget. Like, my memory is still very poor. I was really hoping to see some kind of improvement with that, but I don't know. My kids say they nicknamed me Forget Mommy some years ago because I forgot things all the time. And even my young children have just like out of the blue said to me, they're like, you don't forget things as much as you used to. I was like, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. So it has improved, but it's still not great. But anyway, I can't think of the example that I had in my head, but just one example I can think of right now. Not anything specific, but I homeschool my kids. They do this thing where they're in the classroom a couple of days a week and then are homeschooled the rest of the time. And homeschool has felt very stressful and often confusing for me. And especially like math, it's very sad because like I've never been good at math. And my oldest daughter's in first grade. And so I'm like, I'll be like reading this math, like, what do you call it? Lesson plan. This like lesson plan. I'm like, what? Like, what is it? What am I supposed to do? What is this? I've got no idea, whatever. But now it's like while I was doing keto, I calmed down enough that I would just like look at it. And if I didn't get it at first, then I would just continue looking at it. And if the kids start like bothering me or being loud, then I just calmly say, hey kids, I'm trying to figure this out. Could you please go, be loud downstairs? And they do it because they're good kids and they're old enough now to be more consistently obedient, which is very nice and helpful. That's helped a lot with my cognition too, just my kids getting older. And so there's just like less demand on me just throughout the day, you know what I mean? They're more independent. So yeah, there's your pro tip for improving your cognition, your children age. What was I saying? Right. And then I just kind of like look at it again and read it and figure it out, because it's first grade math. Like, I can do it. Okay. I know I can do it. And then I have it and then I just do it. Whereas like before, I would just get stuck in this like stressed out, like confused sort of state. So anyway, I feel like this is going on way too long for saying something extremely simple, which is that I think that keto really helped me, even though it didn't work the way that I was hoping it would work from like a mental health perspective, whatever. It still really helped me. And this makes me think, like, some people talk about cycling in and out of keto periodically, like maybe like seasonally, you'll like do a keto diet for a while. And I'm starting to think that that's actually a really good idea because, just like going through life, like life's freaking hard and like things happen. And I feel like being in ketosis might be like a really good reset for that kind of stuff, to kind of just like chill you out a little bit, calm you down, even you out. And then you can just be like, it's cool. This is cool, dude. Like, it's fine. Everything's okay. Your nervous system, kind of calms down a little bit. I think that I'm going to try and do that probably. Like, maybe I'll make it like 1 month out of the year. I will do keto just as kind of like a reset, a nervous system reset. Or maybe even just like low carb, because I started off just doing low carb, but wasn't quite low enough in carbs to be keto. But even when I was doing that, I started to feel those benefits of just like calming down and stabilizing, you know. So maybe just like low carb / keto once a year. Thinking about it from like a seasonal eating perspective, probably springtime is actually the best, because I learned recently that amylase, which is the digestive enzyme that breaks down starches and sugars, actually you produce more of it during the winter, which makes sense because a lot of starchy things are harvested during the fall, which then you would eat throughout the winter, like traditionally, right? So that makes a lot of sense. So you'd have like your starchy stuff, breads and like grains and squashes and these sorts of things, potatoes, over the winter time. And then as that stuff is running out, then keto. That's just my idea. I don't know. I'm just some idiot on the internet. I don't know anything. So yeah, but so I think keto, I'm glad I did it. It worked sort of, even though it didn't work. So yeah, there you go. Maybe give it a shot. If you're having trouble like I was, where I just couldn't freaking like calm the heck down, dude. Like couldn't freaking calm down. I bet it would be good for anxiety. That's been my experience with keto for mental health. I thank you for watching, and